Thank you for joining us. You've seen how stories from the past, from both books and comics, can inspire us with courage and creativity. Here on the Fulmo Talk Series, we carry that spirit forward into the world of ideas. The Fulmo Talk Series 2025 has been created to highlight the Fulmo platform. The Fulmo platform was initially created to address the student suicide crisis in India. It has since grown into a full-fledged games hub with happiness practices paired with games. These happiness practices are designed to cultivate resilience, optimism, and gratitude. This talk series has been developed in association with the Esperanto and ConLang Society of South India. Some of the sentences spoken in the introduction and conclusion are in Esperanto, but no knowledge of Esperanto is needed since we always translate all sentences into English. In fact, my knowledge of Esperanto is not very high, so I've often been reading from a script. Today, we are grateful to have you with us as we explore new perspectives together. Today's talk continues Fulmo's journey, full of insight and thought. So, let's begin.
Hi, everyone. I'm very honored to speak to you today about a topic that's really near and dear to my heart. That is the science of happiness and the science of social connection. My work is on how we all can become happier. How do we feel more connected? How do we flourish? And how do we thrive at work and at home? So I'm an experimental social psychologist who has been studying happiness for 36 years. This is my very first day of my PhD program in social psychology. My last name, Lyubomirsky, means love and peace, Lyubomir, in Russian. So although I've never liked my name, but it turned out to be quite appropriate and useful for my career and not easy to forget. So how can we improve happiness? Well, fortunately, tons of randomized controlled experiments have now shown, let me go to the next slide, that from my lab and other labs that lots of experiments have shown that people can become happier when they deliberately practice what I call positive activities. So these are activities like expressing gratitude, savoring the good things in life, doing acts of kindness for others, socializing, practicing meditation, et cetera, et cetera. So my lab has been testing the conditions under which these activities are most successful in making people happy. So my lab conducts what we call positive activity interventions or happiness interventions, which are essentially clinical trials. What we typically do in our studies is that we instruct our research participants to practice a particular positive activity on a regular basis, say for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, sometimes 10 weeks, sometimes as short as 1 week. And then we follow them across time to see whether that exercise makes them happier over time. And of course, we have various control conditions and comparison conditions. But for the past 27 years, I've been primarily interested in the question of how and why these activities work to increase happiness. And this means exploring, in psychological jargon, exploring the moderators and the mediators that underlie the success of any positive activity. Well, and this talk is very short, so I'm going to summarize my research to you in a few minutes. And basically, after 3 decades of research, I have kind of reached a conclusion that sounds like a cliche, and that is that if you want to be happier, research suggests that you should focus not on yourself, but focus on other people, both on spending time with other people, on supporting and helping other people, and also recognizing the ways that other people have helped and supported you. In other words, other people matter very, very much. So that's basically the conclusion of my research. So for these reasons right now, today, my lab is studying how to promote more social interactions, how to help people have deeper, more substantive and less shallow conversations, how to help people feel more loved. And I just finished a book with my colleague, Harry Reese, called How to Feel Loved. Here it is. And I'm going to give you a little preview of some of what we're studying and writing about in this book. So, and I hope that you're going to try it out yourself. So, I'm going to tell you basically what's literally is my number one happiness tip from all the research that you heard about, um, and more research too. If you could do one thing today or tomorrow to become happier, I suggest that you do the following, which is that have a 15-minute conversation, 15-minute minimum conversation with someone. It could be a partner, a friend, a child, even a stranger. And to make those conversations as happiness-inducing and as connection-inducing as possible. Next time you have a conversation, whether with a new colleague or a student or a good friend or a partner or a child or a stranger, tonight or tomorrow, let's say, if you try to do this, I'm going to ask you to try to embrace the following three mindsets. Okay, here they are. The first starting with the sharing mindset. So basically, in this conversation that you are going to have, don't do what we almost always do, which is that we try to show off. We try to impress other people. We try to present ourselves in the best possible light. Instead, share a bit of your whole self, your true self, if you will. Be vulnerable, showing only your good qualities, how smart, kind, accomplished, funny you are, might indeed successfully impress people. And that's what people tend to do on a first date or a first meeting, but it won't forge a connection, right? It won't make you or your conversation partner feel loved. So share more of yourself. Second one is a listening to learn mindset. So now what about the other side? So now your friend or colleague is telling you their story, and you're the listener. Well, you won't be surprised to learn that usually we tend to listen to respond instead of listening to learn. And so my advice, based on lots of research, is to listen. You're going to be quizzed on it tomorrow. And actually, listening workshops do this, where they basically have you like almost memorize what the other person is telling you. In addition, ask detailed or insightful questions that show that you're truly listening and taking to the next level what they're saying. Now, everyone here, or everyone listening now, I want you to remember a time, maybe it was a party, a dinner that you attended, a reception, when when people asked you, like, when was the last time that people asked you really like deep questions about yourself, like questions they really wanted to know. It's amazing actually how rarely it happens. People really want to be asked sort of questions about themselves, not just how are you, but beyond that. Okay, so that's the listening to learn mindset. The following, finally, is what I call radical curiosity mindset. Even if you practice all the right listening behaviors, it's not enough. You must show authentic interest, genuine curiosity in the other person or what they're speaking about. And again, try to recall a party you attended, or a date you had, or a meeting when your conversation partner was so excited to hear you tell your story. Their eyes were bright and they just couldn't wait for you to finish your story, right? They were so curious for you to tell your story. It's so incredibly compelling and wonderful when it happens, but it doesn't happen very often. So, okay, so those are the three mindsets. Um, and I'm done. So thank you for listening and thank you for being curious. If you're interested in learning more about the science of happiness and how to have conversations in ways that make you and the other person feel loved, subscribe to my newsletter. The QR code is here, and have a wonderful day.